Hello and welcome to the Vulgar Eclectic. This is Frank. I have a few more comic books I wanted to go through today that I have recently acquired. These next few I have in rough alphabetical order, so I'll just start with this one, which is Captain Mar-vell, number 8. Alright, here it is, Captain Mar-vell number 8. Very beautiful comic. Captain Mar-vell, the first Mar-vell series was started in May 68 and ran all the way until May 1979 for a total of 11 years, which is not bad. I am primarily interested in the first 15 or really 16 issues, I think it is, of the first series because that's the art that I like the most. It's his original outfit, his original costume. That changes. Number 16, I think the initial changes begin, and then number 17, I believe, is the first full issue of him in his new outfit. And I don't know why, but I just like, well, the artists change too and stuff, but I just really like the, see, my comics fell over, hold on. There. I really like the first 15, 16 issues. They're just so beautiful. Fear shall follow. This has really vibrant colors. This is a nice copy. It's in really good shape. So we got Mar-vell here. Captain Mar-vell. This one, issue number 8, came out in 1968. The cover is by Conan, who he's one of my favorite illustrators. I love his work. Inks are by Vince Colletta. The script inside is by Arnold Drake, with the pencils by Jonah Hex, and Vince Colletta doing the inks inside too. It's got a nice letters column, which I love that. I love reading the old letters pages. Alrighty, that's Captain Mar-vell. Just have a bit of a cold, so pardon my coughing and clearing my throat. The next, I've got a little batch of Conan that I picked up. Series that I guess I've been getting them for quite a long time. I know I've mentioned this channel before, but my parents got me a huge box of coverless comics, for my brother and I when we were kids. Huge. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of them, including a lot of Conan, or I shouldn't say a lot, but several Conan issues. And I read and reread those and enjoyed them. Nowadays, I try to mostly shoot for ones that are under issue 100 and less, I guess 100 and under. This one's number 36, 63, 64, 76, and 77. Of course, Conan the Barbarian started in 1970 and ran for an epic 275 issues all the way up until the end of 1993. Pretty amazing run. We've got John Romita on the cover here with Ernie Chan. The script is by Roy Thomas, and the inside pencils are by John Buscema with Ernie Chan inking. Cover by Gil Kane, who I love. Such a great artist. Balit is in this one of my favorite characters in the Conan world. Roy Thomas again, and inside John Buscema, and inks by Steve Gann on that one. Then we've got number 64 here. John Buscema on the covers with Mike Esposito inking it. And this apparently is a reprint, although I don't know what it reprints, to be honest. I mean, the title is The Secret of Skull River. Again, it's by Roy Thomas, but pencils by Jim Starlin, which is interesting. Inks by Al Milgrom. I'm going to take this one out quick. Friends of the Feathered Serpent. The Secret of Skull River. Due to personal considerations, inker Steve Gann was unable at the last possible moment to deliver our cover featured story on time for this issue. Oh, that's why the Friends of the Feathered Serpent and Secret of Skull River don't correspond with the title here. Okay, thus making our usual virtue of necessity, we're taking this opportunity to represent a tale never before printed in color, in which originally appeared in Savage Tales number 5. Oh, that's interesting. P.S. For you chronology buffs, this mini epic occurs between the events recorded in Conan number 44 and 45. Roy Thomas. Well, that is really interesting. I didn't realize that. Huh. It'll be interesting to see how the colors work. Interesting. Okay, well that I did not know. Okay, and then we got issue number 76. That's another Gil Kane cover with Ernie Chan inking it. Bullet is in this one again, apparently. Got pencils by John Buscema and Ernie Chan inside. Oh, there's something I wanted to show you in this one. Just a little bit of, I don't know what you'd call it, foreshadowing, perhaps? Let me find it. It'll just take me a minute here. I should have had it ready to go, but that's all right. It is, ooh, this comic smells so good. Ah, here we go. It's a Joe Weider, however you say his name, bodybuilding ad. But look who he's posing with here. It's his pupil, it says. His famous pupil, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Olympia winner. So I just thought that was funny. A little foreshadowing there. Okay. And then we have, number 77. Gil Kane again with Ernie Chan on the cover. Bullet's still in this one. Inside's the same as usual. Roy Thomas, John Buscema, and Ernie Chan. What a team, huh? Great stuff. Okay, now we're going to move to Doc Savage. Oh, no, wait. The Defenders would actually be next, I guess, as far as keeping it in alphabetical order. So 152 issues the Defenders ran for from 1972 to 1986. I think around issue 125, the title became the New Defenders, but it was still the same run. This is such a fun title. It's kind of offbeat. It's the what do they call it? The non-team superhero team, something like that. The non-team team. It's basically always comprised of a bunch of loners. It shifts a little, changes composition a little bit over the years, but like this one has Doctor Strange in it. Pardon me. Son of Satan, Submariner, Hulk, Silver Surfer, Gargoyle, Valkyrie. That's great. All characters that I like. And anyway, this is issue number 99 from 1981. Al Milgrom on the cover. The script is by J.M. DeMatteis, who did a lot of these. Pencils inside are Don Perlin and Joe Sinnott, with Joe Sinnott doing the inks as well. Okay. This is a series I have probably over 50% of by now, I would think. I've got a lot of them, but they're just so fun to read. Alrighty. Then we go on to Doc Savage. There we go. Doc Savage, as you probably already know, is quite the interesting pulp fiction hero. I think back in, I don't know if it was his original appearance or not, but from 33 to 49, there was a pulp magazine called Doc Savage. It ran for 31 issues, published by Street and Smith. And then Gold Key published a single issue back in 1966 of a comic version of Doc Savage. And then the Mar-vell series started in 1972. It only ran for 8 issues. This one's another Gil Kane cover. I really like that cover a lot. The greatest, Adventuredom's greatest hero in non-stop action, the Helldiver. Yeah, just that cover, fantastic. Yeah, this is part 2 of an adaptation by an original Doc Savage novel, Death in Silver by Kenneth Robeson. Or Robeson, I think. Steve Englehart did the comic adaptation, and the art is by Ross Andrew and Tom Palmer. Then we get number 7, which I already have a copy of, but I bought these kind of as a bulk. And anyway, this is in really good shape. The other one, it's pretty darn good shape anyway. Looks like Rich Buckler's on the cover, who I really like his art. I first became aware of him as an artist when I, number of years ago, read Star Hunters, a great short-lived series from DC that he did a lot of the art on. But this one is called, the the title of the story is Brand of the Werewolf, which is the first part of another adaptation of a novel by Kenneth Robeson called Brand of the Werewolf. The script in this one, interestingly, in the comic, is by Gardner F. Fox and Tony Isabella, and the art is by Ross Andrew and Frank Springer. Of course, Gardner Fox is very famous, such a prolific writer. I read that he's written more than, I think it was 4,000 comic book stories, much of them for DC, but for other companies as well. Obviously, in this case, this is Mar-vell. He was also a science fiction author, and he wrote lots of short stories and a lot of novels too, I think. I had to look this up. What he's known as the co-creator of several DC heroes, like the original Flash, Hawkman and Hawkgirl, the original Sandman, Dr. Fate, Barbara Gordon, Zatanna, and he also introduced the concept of the multiverse to DC Comics, which is really cool. In the 61 story, Flash of Two Worlds. All right, and then we've got number 8, which is the last issue in this very short-lived title, Werewolf's Lair. It's the second part of that Brand of the Werewolf story, or novel. Tony Isabella and Rich Buckler, Tom Palmer, and Jack Abel are all on the creative team. Yeah, so a very, very short-lived series. I'd like to get them all. I'm close. I don't have them all yet, but getting there. And then we have a run of, I think that's all the right. Yep. Okay, so then we've got a run of G.I. Joe that I picked up. This was published, of course, by Mar-vell. Ran for 155 issues from 1982 to the end of 1994. Larry Hama famously wrote almost every issue. Very good. I've read lots of these. Trying to get them all, although I have a ways to go yet. I'll just go through these rather quickly, I guess. 61. Oh, yeah. I bought doubles by accident because I was buying stuff from a couple different dealers and hadn't marked them off my list yet, so that was kind of foolish. But anyway, 61, 71, 76, 77. And I've got another double here, I believe, 78. Another double, 79, the Dreadnoughts. And then 96, the third part of a Snake Eyes story. And Storm Shadow there. And then we have a G.I. Joe Special Missions, which is a different title. It started, I think, in 86. I'll have to look this up. Yeah, 1986 to 1989. Ran for 28 issues. Also written by Larry Hama. The art on this one's by Herb Trimpe. Yeah, I like this. When I was a kid, I somehow got the first issue of this one. And again, I just had until I got the big box of coverless comics, I only had a handful of comics, really. And one of them was the first Special Mission. So I've just always kind of liked these and have wanted to finish the run. And they're fun stories. I like them. Most of the ones I've read anyway in the Special Missions are standalone stories. All right. And then, actually I have one more. Where did they go? Here we go. And then the last on this little segment, and then I'll make a break with this, are Jonah Hex. Ran for 92 issues from 77 to 85. Came out, it went his own title anyway. He existed as a character before that. This is issue number 33, The Crusader. It's written by Michael Fleischer, who wrote a ton of these, and really good writer, I think, with art by E.R. Cruz, and the cover is by Luis Dominguez. One of us will get you, Hex. Ain't no way you can stop us all. What a great... I love this. It's very, I've seen this same basic style in a lot of comic and imagery, but with the person's silhouette up front here, just inches from his hand, just inches from his firearm, and then Hex back here and a couple folks behind him. those coverless comics had a lot of, quite a number of Jonah Hex issues, and I just loved those. So I pulled those out of the piles of other comics and assembled them all together in order. And then I ended up drilling holes along the spine and using string and making a big like collected volume of Jonah Hex comics. And I took that in our family's van, and I'd keep it in there for when we go on a road trip or something and read those. And I remember there was one issue in particular that I really liked when he was injured. Jonah Hex was injured, and he had to crawl. I don't remember the details of the story, but he had to crawl dozens and dozens of miles, it seemed like, across a desert and stuff, I think, to get to safety and to get out of whatever situation he was in there. And I've always wanted to reread that issue, but I've never looked it up, and I don't want to. I just, as I slowly get them and read them, I want to come across it again. I'm excited to eventually read it for a second time. Well, I read it many times when I was a kid, but to read it again. And then we have got issue number 37, Stonewall, in which he meets the famous General Stonewall Jackson. Again, written by Michael Fleischer, and it's got art by Dick Ayers and Danny Bulanandi. Danny Bulanandi. The cover's again by Luis Dominguez. I like that cover a lot. Got the canoe going over the falls. When Jonah made this fateful leap, he never guessed it could well have been the reason the South lost the war. A secret page of history revealed when Jonah meets Stonewall Jackson. Yeah, cool stuff. These were both from 1980. Alrighty, and that'll wrap up this little segment. I'll be back with the latter half of the alphabet, I guess, in a while. Alrighty, thanks very much, and happy reading.